I stepped into the Grand Nexus chamber and felt the familiar weight of thousands of eyes upon me. This huge hall floated in zero gravity, its walls covered with glowing crystals that lit every corner with soft blue light. Hundreds of beings from across the galaxy hovered in their assigned places, tall, short, scaled, feathered, and mechanical. The air hummed with quiet conversations in 100 different languages, all translated perfectly by the small device behind my ear. My name is Zorath Kale. I am the official representative of the Rimward Concord, a small but respected group of worlds on the edge of known space. For 30 years I have sat in this council, listening, watching, and sometimes speaking when it mattered. Today felt different. Today, the air felt heavy with danger. I found my floating platform and locked my six-fingered hands around the rail. From here, I could see everything clearly. In the center of the chamber, the giant holographic stage waited for the main speaker. Around me, the usual groups had gathered. The peaceful traders from the core worlds looked calm. The insect-like diplomats from the Hive Collective clicked their mandibles softly. And then there were the Krath. The Krath delegation took up the largest space. Their warriors stood tall and proud in black armor that shone like polished obsidian. Their leader, High Commander Vexar, floated at the front with his chest puffed out. His red eyes glowed with confidence. Behind him, his officers smiled with sharp teeth. They looked like predators who had already won the hunt. A soft chime rang through the chamber. The emergency session had begun. The Grand Speaker, an ancient being whose body was mostly light and energy, rose in the center. His voice was calm but serious. Honored delegates of the Galactic Council, we are gathered today at the request of the Krath Empire. They bring a proposal of great importance. High Commander Vexar, you may begin. Vexar moved forward. His voice boomed across the hall, strong and full of pride. Fellow members of the Council, we have discovered a new world. It is called Earth by its native species. This planet is rich with water, minerals, and living space. Its people are still primitive. They have not yet mastered faster-than-light travel. They fight each other with simple weapons, metal vehicles that roll on wheels, flying machines that use burning fuel, and bombs that split atoms in a very wasteful way. A few delegates laughed quietly. I did not. Vexar continued, his red eyes shining brighter. Their defenses are weak. Their armies number in the millions, but they are nothing compared to our billions of clone soldiers and our advanced fleet. We can take this world in less than one galactic cycle. The resources will strengthen the Krath Empire, and by extension, benefit the entire galaxy under our protection. He waved a clawed hand. Large holographic images appeared in the center of the chamber. We saw blue oceans, green forests, and crowded cities full of lights. We saw humans walking in their streets, driving their cars, and training their soldiers. The images showed tanks firing, jets flying low, and rockets launching into space. To most of the council, it looked primitive and almost funny. See? Vexar said with a wide smile. They are children playing with fire. We will bring order. We will bring progress. Earth will become a valuable member of the Krath Empire. Any resistance will be crushed quickly and cleanly. Many delegates nodded in agreement. The traders from the core world seemed interested in new markets. The Hive Collective clicked in approval. Even some of the older warrior races looked bored, as if this was just another easy conquest. I felt my stomach tighten. Invade Earth? Are you insane? The thought burned in my mind, but I kept my face calm. I had spent many years studying Earth in secret. While others ignored the blue planet on the edge of the galaxy, I had read every report I could find. I had watched their history through hidden probes. I knew things the Krath did not. Humans were not children. They lived on a death world, a planet full of storms, earthquakes, floods, and dangerous animals. Yet they had survived and grown stronger. They fought wars against each other for thousands of years, not just for land, but for ideas, for freedom, and sometimes for nothing at all. Every time they fought, They learned. Every time they suffered, they invented something new. And now these fools wanted to give them a real enemy. The Grand Speaker turned toward the chamber. Does anyone wish to speak before we discuss the proposal? A few polite voices rose. One delegate from a peaceful water world asked about the ethics of invading a living species. Another worried about the cost of such a war. But their questions were mild. No one seemed truly worried. To most of them, Earth was just another small, backward planet. Vexar answered them smoothly. We respect life, of course, but progress demands action. The weak must be guided by the strong. That is the way of the galaxy. More nods, more quiet agreement. I stayed silent for now. My heart beat faster than usual. I looked at the holographic images again. In one corner, a small video played of humans launching a rocket from their planet. It was slow and loud compared to our ships, but it reached space. Another image showed a city at night, bright with millions of lights. These beings had built all of this in just a few hundred years. I remembered the classified files I kept hidden in my quarters. The ones that showed human soldiers fighting in mud and snow, never giving up. The ones that showed them laughing while facing danger. The ones that showed them turning their own worst disasters into steps toward greater power. High Commander Vexar finished his speech with a final bold statement. The Krath Empire is ready. We only ask for the Council's formal approval so that no other empire interferes with our rightful claim. Earth will fall. The galaxy will grow richer. Glory awaits us all. He stepped back, clearly pleased with himself. His officers clapped their armored hands together in loud approval. The Grand Speaker looked around the chamber once more. Are there any strong objections or important questions at this time? The hall grew quiet. Many eyes turned toward the different delegations, waiting to see who would speak first. I took a slow, deep breath. My 6 fingers gripped the rail tighter. I could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on me. Part of me wanted to stay quiet and let the fools learn their lesson the hard way. But I knew better. If the Krath invaded Earth, it would not be a simple conquest. It would be something much worse. Something that could shake the entire galaxy. I raised my hand slowly. The motion caught the attention of several nearby delegates. The Grand Speaker noticed and nodded toward me. Representative Zorath Kale of the Rimward Concord, you have the floor. I floated forward a little, my voice steady but serious. Honored members of the Council, I began. Before we move too quickly, I believe there are important facts we must consider about this planet called Earth and its people. Vexar turned his red eyes toward me with a look of mild amusement. Does the diplomat from the Rim fear a few primitives? I met his gaze without blinking. No, High Commander, I do not fear them. But after studying them for many years, I have come to a different conclusion. The chamber grew quieter. Even the clicking from the Hive Collective stopped. I continued, choosing my words carefully. Invading Earth may not bring the easy victory you expect. In fact, it may bring something none of us are prepared for. A few soft murmurs spread through the hall. I could see confusion on many alien faces. They did not understand yet. But I did. And as I stood there, preparing to speak further, one thought kept repeating in my mind like a warning siren. These fools have no idea what they are about to wake up. The Grand Nexus chamber grew even quieter as all eyes turned toward me. I could feel the weight of hundreds of curious and doubtful stares. High Commander Vexar floated with his arms crossed, a sharp smile on his face. He clearly thought my words were nothing more than the careful talk of a weak diplomat. Representative Zorath, the Grand Speaker said in his calm, glowing voice, please continue. The Council listens. I took a moment to gather my thoughts. My heart was beating steadily, but I kept my voice clear and steady. Around me, the glowing crystals cast soft light on the faces of every species present. The traders from the core worlds leaned forward with interest. The Hive Collective stopped their quiet clicking. Even the usually bored warrior races seemed to pay attention now. "Thank you," I replied. I'd have followed the development of Earth for many long cycles. While others saw only a distant, unimportant world, I chose to watch closely. What I have learned should make every one of us think carefully before supporting this invasion. I pointed toward the large holographic images still floating in the center of the chamber. The pictures showed human cities at night, bright with countless lights. Another showed their flying machines cutting through the sky. A third displayed their large metal vehicles moving across open fields. High Commander Vexar calls these weapons crude, I said. He speaks of tanks, jets, and atomic bombs as if they are toys. But let us look closer. These humans built all of this in less than 200 of their years. They started with simple tools and fire. Now they reach into space with rockets. They split the smallest parts of matter for energy. That kind of progress is rare in the galaxy. Vexar let out a short laugh. It echoed through the hall. Progress, Representative, you speak as if these primitives are special. Our plasma cannons can burn their metal vehicles in seconds. Our fleet can bombard their cities from orbit before their slow radars even notice us. Their so-called bombs are loud and messy, but our shields will laugh at them. Several delegates nodded in agreement. A tall, feathered diplomat from the core worlds raised a wing and spoke. The Krath have a strong military record. Many worlds have joined their empire peacefully after seeing their power. Why should Earth be different? Vexar's smile grew wider. He waved his clawed hand again, and new holographic videos appeared. We watched human soldiers training. They ran through mud and fired their guns. We saw their ships at sea, large and heavy. We saw their airplanes flying in formation. Behold their armies, Vexar said proudly. Millions of soldiers, yes, but they fight with chemical explosives and metal bullets. Our clone troops number in the billions. Each one is strong, loyal, and fearless. They do not feel pain the way these soft humans do. One division of our forces could sweep across their largest continent in days. The Hive Collective clicked in approval. A few other delegates murmured their support. The mood in the chamber was shifting toward the Krath. They made the invasion sound simple and quick. A small war for great rewards. I felt frustration rising inside me, but I kept my face calm. These beings had never truly studied humans. They saw numbers and weapons. I saw something much more dangerous. May I ask a few simple questions, High Commander? I said politely. Vexar spread his arms wide, as if inviting me to embarrass myself. Of course, diplomat. Ask anything. We have nothing to hide. I nodded. First question. Have you studied the full history of human warfare? Not just their current weapons, but how they fight when they believe they have no choice? Vexar shrugged. History? They kill each other over small pieces of land and old beliefs. It shows they are divided and weak. We will arrive as one powerful force. They will break quickly. I continued without raising my voice. Second question. Have you considered their biology? Humans come from a world full of dangers. They survive extreme heat and cold. They recover from injuries that would kill many other species. They are persistence hunters. They can chase prey for days without stopping. Their bodies turn pain and fear into fuel for fighting harder. A few delegates looked surprised. The peaceful Waterworld representative tilted her head, listening closely. Third question, I said. Have you looked at their spirit, the way they think and feel? Humans do not fight only for resources. They fight for ideas. They have songs and stories about facing impossible odds and winning. They laugh in the face of danger. When pushed, they become creative in ways that surprise even themselves. Vexar waved a hand dismissively. Stories and songs? You speak like a poet, Zorath. This is war, not a children's tale. Our technology is centuries ahead. Our strategy is perfect. The invasion plan is already prepared. Our scouting fleet is moving into position even now. 3 Vanguard ships have entered their outer system to gather final data. We expect full success within days. At that moment, a small alert light flashed near the Grand Speaker. He checked a hidden display and then spoke. "High Commander, we have received a new report from your fleet. The 3 Vanguard ships have lost contact. No distress signals, no data, simply silence." A ripple of surprise moved through the chamber. Vexar's smile faltered for just a moment before he recovered. "A minor communication issue," he said quickly. "Space is large. Signals can be blocked by solar activity or asteroids. It means nothing. Our main fleet will follow soon and bring victory." I felt a cold feeling in my chest. I knew better. Those lost ships were likely the first warning. Humans had sharp eyes in the sky now. They noticed things, and when they noticed danger, they did not wait quietly. "Honored delegates," I said, raising my voice just enough to carry across the hall. "I do not speak against the Krath out of fear or jealousy. I speak because I have seen the files most of you have never read. Humans are not primitives waiting to be guided. They are a young species that has already survived many disasters on their own world. They have faced wars that killed millions, diseases that swept across continents, and natural forces that could destroy cities. Each time, they rose again, stronger and smarter." The chamber was completely silent now. Even Vexar had stopped smiling and was watching me carefully. "They turned their world wars into leaps of technology," I continued. "They went from riding animals to walking on their moon in less than 70 years. Imagine what they could do if a true threat from the stars appeared. Imagine what weapons they would build if they captured even one piece of our technology." A soft murmur spread through the delegates. Some looked thoughtful, others looked uneasy. The core world traders whispered among themselves. The Hive Collective clicked rapidly, discussing my words. Vexar pointed a claw at me. "You paint a frightening picture with little proof, Rimward diplomat. These humans have no shields, no plasma weapons, no faster-than-light drives. They are alone and small. We are many and mighty. The Council should approve our plan and let history record another successful expansion." He looked around the chamber with confidence. "Who stands with the Krath Empire? Who wishes to share in the riches of a new world?" Several hands and limbs rose in support, but not as many as before. My questions had planted small seeds of doubt. The Grand Speaker raised his glowing hands for order. "We will hear more discussion. Representative Zorath, do you have further points?" I nodded slowly. My 6 fingers tightened on the rail again. "Yes," I said. "I have much more to say. Because if we approve this invasion, we will not be watching a simple conquest. We will be opening a door to something far more dangerous. Humans do not surrender easily. They do not break when pushed. They push back, harder than anyone expects." I paused and looked directly at Vexar. "And when they push back against the stars themselves, the entire galaxy may feel it." The mood had changed. What started as a confident proposal from the Krath now carried a shadow of uncertainty. High Commander Vexar glared at me, his red eyes burning. But I could see a flicker of doubt behind his pride. He had no idea how right I was. And deep inside, I knew the real test was only beginning. The Grand Nexus chamber felt smaller now. Every delegate watched me closely. The glowing crystals cast soft light across hundreds of different faces, scales, and eyes. High Commander Vexar floated with his arms folded tightly, his red eyes fixed on me like sharp blades. The air seemed thicker with attention. No one whispered anymore. They waited for my next words. I took a slow breath and spoke clearly so the translation devices could carry my voice to every corner of the hall. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," I began, "I have listened to the Krath proposal with care. Now I ask you to listen to me with open minds. I have studied Earth and its people for 47 cycles, longer than most of you have even noticed the planet existed. What I have learned is not theory, it is fact, and these facts should make every one of us pause." I pointed toward the holographic images still floating in the center. The pictures showed Earth's blue oceans, busy cities, and busy people. These humans live on a death world, I continued. Their planet throws storms that can destroy entire coasts. It shakes with earthquakes that swallow cities. It burns with wildfires and freezes with ice ages. Dangerous animals once hunted them. Deadly diseases swept through their populations again and again. Yet instead of dying out like many species would, humans grew stronger. They built homes against the storms. They learned to predict the earthquakes. They created medicines to fight the diseases. They turned every challenge into a step forward. A few delegates leaned forward. The peaceful Waterworld representative nodded slowly, her large eyes thoughtful. I kept speaking, my voice steady and strong. Their history is filled with conflict. They have fought each other for thousands of years, not always for food or land, but for ideas, for freedom, and sometimes for beliefs they hold dear. Each war taught them something new. They improved their tools. They created better ways to protect themselves. From simple swords and arrows, they moved to guns, then to machines that fly, and finally to weapons that use the power inside atoms. Exactly. They waste their energy fighting among themselves. When a united force arrives, they will fall apart. I turned to face him directly. That is where you are wrong, High Commander. When humans face a common enemy, they put their differences aside faster than you think. In their last Great World War, many nations joined together against a shared threat. They built machines, ships, and weapons at incredible speed. They crossed oceans and won battles against stronger-looking forces. They never stopped trying, even when victory seemed far away. The chamber stayed silent. I could see some delegates exchanging glances. The Hive Collective clicked softly, processing my words. Let me tell you more about their nature, I said. Humans are persistence hunters. On their world, they once chased fast animals for days across hot plains. They did not run faster than their prey. Instead, they kept going when others would stop. They wore the animal down with patience and willpower. That same spirit lives in them today. They do not give up easily. They endure pain, hunger, and fear longer than most species can imagine. I paused to let the idea settle. Then I continued. Their bodies heal in surprising ways. Injuries that would cripple other beings only make them more determined. They turn suffering into strength. And when they feel cornered, they become very creative. A new holographic image appeared as I requested it from the chamber system. It showed humans launching a small vehicle to their moon. The rocket was loud and slow compared to our ships, but it worked. In less than 70 of their years, they went from flying simple airplanes to walking on their moon, I explained. Think about that speed of progress. Most species take centuries or longer for such leaps. Humans do it while still fighting among themselves. Now imagine what they could achieve if the entire planet worked together against an enemy from the stars. Vexar waved his hand again. Poetry and dreams, Zorath. Our technology is far superior. Our plasma weapons can melt their tanks before they fire a single shot. Our shields laugh at their primitive bombs. What can they possibly do against us? I met his red eyes without fear. They can learn. They can adapt. They can take one piece of our fallen technology and turn it into something new and dangerous. Humans have a gift for reverse engineering. They study how things work and improve them quickly. If they capture even one craft drone or weapon, they will not copy it exactly. They will make it better, or combine it with their own ideas in ways we cannot predict. Soft murmurs spread through the hall. The core world traders looked uneasy now. Even some of the warrior races seemed to be thinking deeply. I raised my voice just enough to carry clearly. There is more. Humans have a strange and powerful spirit. They create songs about fighting against great odds and winning. They tell stories of heroes who refuse to surrender. They make moving pictures that show ordinary people becoming extraordinary when danger comes. These are not just entertainments. They shape how humans think. They teach every new generation that victory is possible even when the enemy seems unbeatable. One of the feathered diplomats raised a wing. Representative Zorath, you make them sound almost inspiring, but are they truly that different from other young species we have seen? Yes, I answered honestly, because humans find humor even in dark times. Their soldiers tell jokes while facing danger. They laugh when others would cry. This keeps their spirits strong. It helps them keep fighting when logic says they should stop. That kind of unbreakable will is rare in the galaxy. I floated a little closer to the center, so everyone could see me clearly. I have watched their news and their public messages. When faced with disasters, humans say things like, "We will rebuild," and "We stand together." They do not beg for mercy. They prepare to resist. If the Krath fleet arrives, humans will not simply defend their cities. They will attack back with everything they have. Old weapons, new inventions, and clever tricks we have never seen before. Vexar's smile had completely disappeared. He looked angry now. You speak of fear and defeat. The Krath Empire has conquered dozens of worlds. We know how to handle resistance. Our clone armies feel no fear. Our ships control the skies. The Earth will be ours within one cycle. I shook my head slowly. High Commander, you still do not understand. Invading Earth will not bring a quick victory. You will not conquer a weak planet. You will awaken a species that has spent thousands of years learning how to survive and grow stronger through struggle. You will give them the greatest challenge of their history, and they will rise to meet it. The chamber buzzed with low conversations. Delegates whispered to each other. The Grand Speaker watched everything carefully, his glowing form steady. I delivered my final warning in a clear, firm voice. If you approve this invasion, you will not be bringing order to a primitive world. You will be lighting a fire on a death world. Humans will fight with courage, creativity, and determination that few species can match. They will turn your own wreckage into weapons. They will learn from every battle, and in the end, they may not stop at defending their home. They may look toward the stars and decide to push back against the galaxy itself. I paused and looked around the entire hall. Invade Earth if you wish, but know this, you will not be facing simple primitives. You will be facing humanity, and humanity does not yield. A heavy silence fell over the Grand Nexus chamber. No one laughed now. No one dismissed my words as mere caution. Even Vexar stood quiet. His red eyes narrowed in thought and anger. The seeds of doubt I had planted were growing fast. Many delegates looked troubled. The easy conquest the Krath had promised suddenly seemed much more dangerous. Inside my mind, one thought repeated clearly. I have warned them. Now the real question is whether they will listen before it is too late. The Grand Speaker finally broke the silence. Representative Zorath has given us much to consider. Are there any further comments before we move to discussion and voting? Several hands and limbs began to rise across the chamber. The mood had completely changed. The Krath proposal no longer felt like a simple victory. It felt like a risk that could change everything. And I knew the most difficult part of the session was still to come. The silence in the Grand Nexus chamber felt heavy after my words. Hundreds of delegates from every corner of the galaxy looked at one another. Some shifted in their floating platforms. Others whispered quietly to their aides. The glowing crystals above us seemed to shine a little brighter, as if the hall itself was waiting for what would happen next. High Commander Vexar broke the quiet first. His voice was loud and sharp, filled with anger. These are nothing but defeatist tales, he shouted, pointing a clawed finger toward me. Representative Zorath spins stories to scare us like children. The Krath Empire has faced stronger enemies than these soft humans. We have conquered worlds with real defenses. Earth has none. Their weapons are toys. Their spirit is just empty talk. He turned to face the rest of the council, his red eyes burning with confidence once more. Do not let one cautious voice stop progress. The riches of Earth, its water, its minerals, its living space, will benefit us all. Approve the invasion, and history will remember us as bold leaders, not fearful ones. A few delegates nodded, but fewer than before. My speech had clearly planted doubt in many minds. The peaceful Waterworld representative raised her delicate hand and spoke in a soft, clear tone. High Commander, the Rimward diplomat raises fair points. If humans are as adaptable as he says, this could become a long and costly conflict. Have your forces truly prepared for unexpected resistance? Vexar waved her question away. Preparation is complete. Our main fleet is already moving toward the Sol system. The 3 lost scout ships were likely destroyed by simple accidents. Solar flares or asteroid collisions. Nothing more. We will arrive in force and end any resistance within days. At that exact moment, another alert light flashed near the Grand Speaker. He checked the incoming message, and his glowing form seemed to flicker slightly. High Commander Vexar, the Grand Speaker announced, we have received another urgent report from your fleet command. 2 additional ships have now lost contact near the outer edge of the human system. They report strange energy readings before going silent. No wreckage has been found yet. A wave of surprised murmurs swept through the chamber. The Hive Collective clicked loudly in discussion. The Core World traders looked visibly worried. Even some of the warrior races leaned forward with new interest. Vexar's face tightened, but he quickly recovered. Minor setbacks. Space is dangerous. Our technology will overcome any interference. This changes nothing. I floated forward a little and spoke again, keeping my voice calm and respectful. Honored delegates, these lost ships are not simple accidents. Humans have built networks of telescopes and listening stations that watch the skies. They have sent probes beyond their planet. They notice when something unusual appears. If they have already detected your scouts, they are likely studying them right now. I paused and looked around the hall. Humans are excellent at reverse engineering. Give them a piece of advanced technology, even a broken one, and they will take it apart, understand it, and improve upon it faster than you expect. Their scientists work day and night when motivated. A real threat from the stars would motivate them like nothing else. One of the older warrior race delegates, a large being with thick scales and deep voice, spoke up. I remember old stories about Death World species. They are rare, but when awakened, they can become dangerous to everyone around them. Representative Zorath, do you truly believe these humans could threaten more than just the craft fleet? I nodded honestly. Yes, humans have already shown they can reach space with limited resources. If they capture craft technology, they could develop new weapons, railguns that fire metal at extreme speeds, improved rockets, or even ways to disrupt our shields. They do not need to match our technology exactly. They only need to find clever ways to hurt us. The chamber grew louder, with overlapping conversations. Delegates argued in small groups. The mood had shifted from mild interest to real concern. What began as a routine proposal for conquest now felt like a serious gamble. Vexar raised his voice to cut through the noise. Enough! This is fear talking. The Krath Empire does not run from primitives. We have billions of clone soldiers ready to land. Our orbital platforms can control the skies. Earth will be brought under control quickly and efficiently. Any who stand in our way will be shown the true power of the Empire. He glared directly at me. Your Rimward Concord has always been cautious, Zorath. But caution is not wisdom. It is weakness. The Council should vote now and approve the invasion so we can bring order to this new world. Several more hands rose in support of the Krath, but many others stayed down. The peaceful species looked troubled. The traders worried about losing potential markets in a long war. Even some Krath allies seemed less certain after hearing about the lost ships. The Grand Speaker called for order, his glowing hands raised high. We will allow more discussion. Representative Zorath, you may respond. I took a deep breath and continued. I do not speak out of weakness. I speak out of experience and careful study. Humans have survived plagues that killed millions. They have rebuilt cities after terrible disasters. They have faced the worst their own world could throw at them and come back stronger every time. A fleet from the stars would be the greatest challenge in their history. They would meet it with courage, creativity, and unbreakable determination. I looked straight at Vexar. You think your numbers and technology guarantee victory. But humans fight best when they feel their home is threatened. They will use every trick, hiding in their cities, striking from unexpected places, and learning from each battle. They will not break easily, and if they begin to win even small victories, their spirit will grow even stronger. A new message alert appeared. The Grand Speaker checked it and spoke again. Another update from the Krath fleet. One of the lost scout ships has sent a partial signal. It reports human ships approaching and strange radio messages being broadcast toward the stars. The signal cut off suddenly. This time the reaction was stronger. Loud discussions filled the hall. Some delegates stood up in their platforms. The Hive Collective clicked rapidly. The core world traders called for calm. I raised my voice to be heard clearly. Honored Council, this is only the beginning. Humans have already noticed the visitors in their system. They are sending messages into space. They are preparing. If the Krath continue with this invasion, they risk waking a force that could spread far beyond one planet. The galaxy has seen young species before, but few with this combination of resilience, creativity, and will. Vexar slammed his armored fist on his rail. Lies and exaggeration, we will prove you wrong. The fleet will launch the full invasion soon. Earth will fall, and the Council will see the wisdom of bold action. The chamber descended into chaos. Delegates shouted questions and opinions. Some demanded more proof from the Krath. Others called for delay and further study. The Grand Speaker worked hard to restore order, his glowing form moving between the loudest voices. I stayed calm in the middle of the storm. My 6 fingers gripped the rail as I watched the scene unfold. I had done what I could. The seeds of doubt had grown into open concern. Many now questioned the easy victory the Krath had promised. But Vexar and his officers still looked determined. They would not back down easily. As the arguments continued, I thought about the humans on their blue planet. They had no idea a great fleet was coming, yet something told me they would be ready in their own way. The council was divided. The proposal hung in the balance. And somewhere out near the edge of the Sol system, the first real clashes were likely already beginning. The chaos in the chamber showed one clear truth. My warning had changed the conversation. But whether it would stop the invasion remained to be seen. The real test was coming, and it would arrive faster than any of us expected. The Grand Nexus chamber had become a storm of voices. Delegates from every species argued loudly across the floating platforms. The glowing crystals above pulsed with brighter light, as if trying to calm the growing tension. High Commander Vexar and his officers stood firm, their black armor shining, but many other faces now showed worry instead of confidence. The Grand Speaker raised his glowing hands high and called for silence. His powerful voice cut through the noise. Honored delegates, we have heard strong arguments on both sides. Representative Zorath has warned us of great danger. High Commander Vexar promises a swift victory and new riches. It is time to vote. All those in favor of approving the Krath invasion of Earth, raise your hands or equivalent limbs. Several platforms lit up with green approval lights. The Krath delegation cheered loudly, but many more stayed dark or turned red for rejection. The core world traders voted against the plan. The peaceful water-world species joined them. Even some of the warrior races hesitated and chose to reject. The final count appeared on the central holographic display. The proposal was rejected by a wide margin. A heavy mix of relief and disappointment filled the hall. Vexar's red eyes burned with fury. He slammed his fist on the rail and shouted so everyone could hear. This council has grown weak and fearful. The Krath Empire does not need your permission. We will invade Earth anyway. Our fleet is already on the move. We will claim the planet for the glory of the Empire. History will prove us right. With those angry words, The entire Krath delegation turned and left the chamber in a dramatic exit. Their heavy boots echoed as they floated out through the wide doors. The remaining delegates watched in silence until the last Krath warrior disappeared. The Grand Speaker spoke once more. The session is now closed. May wisdom guide us all in the cycles ahead. I stayed in my place for a long time after most others had left. My 6 fingers still gripped the rail. I felt tired but satisfied. I had done everything I could to warn them. The council had listened, at least enough to reject the proposal. But the Krath would not stop. They were too proud. Weeks passed after that dramatic session. I returned to my private quarters on the neutral station Ethereum Prime. The rooms were quiet and filled with soft blue light. I spent my days reviewing new reports from across the galaxy. Every cycle brought fresh updates about the situation near Earth. At first, the news was exactly as I had feared. The Krath invasion fleet had entered the Sol system with full force. Hundreds of powerful warships, supported by thousands of fighter craft and billions of clone soldiers, moved toward the blue planet. They expected an easy victory. Their commanders broadcast proud messages about bringing order to a primitive world. But the humans surprised everyone. Early reports showed that the lost scout ships had indeed been detected. Humans had used their telescopes and listening stations to track the alien vessels. When the main Krath fleet arrived, they met unexpected resistance. Human rockets, both old and newly improved, rose from the planet's surface. Some carried powerful warheads. Others released swarms of small satellites that interfered with Krath communications. The Krath tried to bombard cities from orbit, but human defenses struck back in clever ways. They used captured pieces of Krath technology to create new weapons. Railguns fired metal slugs at incredible speeds, punching through shields that were supposed to be unbreakable. Human pilots flew their jets with skill and bravery, using the planet's atmosphere to their advantage. One report described how humans turned their own cities into traps. They hid fighters in unexpected places, and struck when the Krath ships came too close. Their soldiers fought on the ground with determination, never giving up even when outnumbered. They laughed and told jokes over their communication channels while facing danger, just as I had described in the council. The Krath commanders grew frustrated. Their clone armies landed in several places, but humans fought back with creativity and willpower. They used simple ideas mixed with stolen advanced technology. Every small victory made them stronger and more united. I watched the secret updates with a mix of worry and quiet admiration. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for too long. Now the Death World was awake. Months later, I received the most surprising report yet. The Krath fleet was in full retreat. Many of their proud warships had been damaged or destroyed. Their clone soldiers had suffered heavy losses. The humans had not only defended their planet, they had pushed the invaders back toward the outer edges of their system. Some reports even suggested human ships were now following the retreating Krath forces, using captured engines and new designs built at incredible speed. One intercepted human message played in my quarters. A strong human voice spoke with clear confidence. "We are humanity. We do not yield. If you come to our home again, we will be ready. Come and take it, if you can." I listened to those words several times. They carried the same unbreakable spirit I had tried to describe to the council. Humans were not just surviving. They were learning, they were growing, and they were looking toward the stars with new eyes. I sat alone in my quarters that evening, looking out at the distant stars through the large window. The galaxy felt different now. The old order had been shaken. Species that once believed they were the strongest had been taught a hard lesson by a young race from a death world. My thoughts turned to the future. The Krath Empire had been weakened. Other empires would now think twice before threatening Earth. And the humans themselves? They had tasted real contact with the galaxy. They had captured advanced technology and turned it to their advantage. It would not be long before they developed their own faster-than-light drives. Perhaps one day soon, human ships would arrive at this very station. Not as primitives asking for help, but as equals, or even something more. I smiled quietly to myself. I had tried to warn the Council. I had told them the truth about humanity. But some lessons can only be learned the hard way. The galaxy thought it was the apex predator. It had poked the sleeping dragon on the death world. Now, the dragon was awake, spreading its wings and looking out at the stars with curiosity and strength. And the stars would never be the same again. As I prepared for rest, one final thought stayed with me, clear and certain. They are coming. Humanity is coming. And when they arrive, the galaxy had better be ready, because these Deathworlders do not come to bow. They come to stand tall, to learn, to grow, and to claim their place among the stars. The future had begun.